This video will demonstrate the Chapter 7 Level 3 case that is on page 498. So we need to download a couple of files. We need this credit application. We'll just open that up. And when it opens, you need to go ahead and save it as automotive credit application as directed on step 1. I'm going to go back to Blackboard, and I also need to download this Smith XML file. Okay, when it opens, just go ahead and right click and save as, and just save it somewhere on your computer that you can find it. So I'm just going to save it on my desktop. And then I'm going to go ahead and close that. Alright, so I'm going to minimize this and go to the application that we just opened. And we're going to import that data file, that XML file. So what you need to do in order to do that, you need to have this developer tab or tool on your ribbon. And if you don't have it, the way that you get it is you go to File, and then you go to Options, and then click on Customize Ribbon. And when you go to Main Tabs, and when you pull up Main Tabs, over here you'll see Developer, and it needs to be check marked. And then click OK. Okay, and it should appear when you do that. Alright, so I'm going to click on the Developer tab. And what I need to do is get the XML source document to map to each of these fields that are over here. So I'm going to click on Source. So I'm on Developer and click on Source, and then you're going to click on XML Maps. So I'm going to click on XML Maps, click on Add, and we just have to go to that file that we just saved. And here it is on mine, and I'm going to hit Open. And you're going to get this message that says the specified XML source does not refer to a schema. That's okay, you'll get that message, and just click OK, and then click OK again. And that's going to bring in the XML data. Now we need to map all of this to the application information. So this is how this works. I'm going to click on Applicant Name, and over here from my source file I'm going to go find Applicant Name, and there it is. So I'm going to click and hold that, click and hold, and drag it over here. Just drag it and drop it there. Then I need to go to Application ID, and so I saw Application ID up here, and I click and hold and drag that over here and just drop it in that field. Then we have a request date, and it's right here, and drag it in. Now we have our loan details, so I'm going to go through this XML file and look for the loan details, and there we go. So I have a product ID, click and drag that over here into this field. Amount financed, I'm going to bring that in, and term, and the interest rate. Okay, then I have the status. Okay, so this is under the vehicle information. So here I need to bring in status and drag that in. The year, drag that over. Make. Model, the VIN, stock number, trim, doors, body style, almost done. Interior, we need the interior color, they want that. Exterior color, we'll drag that over. The vehicle price, and finally we need the mileage. Alright, so when I have that all mapped out from my XML file, then all I need to do is refresh data, and it should populate. So up here in the XML toolbox there's refresh data. I'm going to click on that, and you'll notice that it brings in all the data from that file. Okay, so that takes us through step 3 and step 4. That was all of step 3 and step 4. And then we have to insert the appropriate function and/or formula to calculate the monthly card payment in cell B13. So you can see right here, we're going to create a formula. And that formula, I need to calculate the monthly payment. And so I'm going to use my payment function. If you don't remember what that is, we could just type equal PMT, or you can use your function here. And I'm going to type payment up here. And click on Go. And here's your payment function. And so I know I need the rate. So the rate is here. I'm going to pull that in, and I need to divide that rate by 12. And then the number of periods. And we can see the number of periods is, the term is 60. I'm going to pull that in. And then the present value. How much what is it worth right now today? So the present value, so I'm going to click on that, choose that, move this over. And I don't need the future value and I don't need the type. I'm going to click OK. And it calculates the payment based on all of this amount, the amount financed, the term, which is 60 months, the interest rate, and you get the payment of $825.70. Now remember, when you're doing this formula up here, you have to take the interest rate and divide it by 12. Alright, so on step 6 it says prepare an amortization schedule based on the information imported from the XML document. Alright, so we have a balance of $45,000 and we're going to create an amortization schedule. So the first thing that we do, it already set it up for you, it has $45,000 here, equals that out of B10. So I need to get the payment. And my payment every month, we just calculated that it was $825.70, so I can just refer to that cell. This is going to be my monthly payment, and I'm going to make that absolute value because when I copy these formulas down, I don't want that one to move. I want to anchor it, so I hit F4 to put the dollar signs in front of it, and I want you all to realize that you can type those dollar signs in as well. Alright, so there it is. And now we need a formula to calculate the principal. So we have a function called the principal payment. And this time I'm just going to type that in. So I have equals P, here it is, PPMT, the principal payment. It says it returns the payment on the principal of a given investment. So that's the one I want. And I need to put in the rate. So the same thing here, I need the same information as before. So I want the rate, which is this, divided by 12. I'm going to put an absolute value in there because I don't want it to move when I copy it down. And divide it by 12. And I'm going to put a oops, I hit something wrong. And then I need to put a comma. And now it wants the periods. Okay, this is the payment, the number of the payment. And so in this case it will be this cell, this will be the monthly payment, the first month of the payment, so the period that the payment is occurring, that goes there. And then I'll hit a comma. And then I need the number of periods. So the number of periods is the term, so I'm going to just click on the term. And I don't want that to move when I copy it down, so I'm going to put an absolute value on that as well. Now I did want the number of periods to move, so I want this to move down when I copy the cell. So that becomes that. And then finally, I need the present value. So I'm going to put a comma, and the present value at this point is $45,000. So it will be this B10 for my first payment. And that's all I need. I'm going to close my parentheses and hit enter. So my first principal payment, the first payment of $825, the principal will be $681. So now I need to calculate the interest payment. So instead of principal payment, we have a function called interest payment, and it's set up almost the same way. So I'm going to type in equals interest, not interest, equals I payment. There it is, I payment, so interest payment. So I'm going to double click and it starts giving me my hints. So once again, almost the same thing. I need the rate, which is this, and I don't want it to move, so I'm going to type F4, and I need to divide that by 12 to take it into a monthly amount. Put a comma. The number of periods, once again, is going to be the I'm sorry, it's this payment, so it's going to be D5. And then, so it's the first month, and I'm not going to put an absolute value on that because I want it to move as I copy it down. So I'll put a comment. Then I need the present value. And the present value, once again, for this first payment is this $45,000. And I want that to be an absolute value as well, so I'll hit F4. And then I'm done. I'm going to close it and hit enter. Oops, I need one more parentheses on there. Ah, getting a mistake. I did something wrong. Okay, I see what I did wrong. I actually need the number of periods there, and it needs to go in right here. The number of periods needs to be 60. And I don't want that to move, so I'm going to put an absolute value by clicking on F4, putting a comma. I am having trouble with this one. Okay, sometimes Excel is really intuitive, and I was struggling with that formula a little bit, but it actually put it in there for me. What I would do if you were having some trouble and it wasn't actually working for you is go ahead and do the function and let it guide you through that, and you won't have any formatting errors. So the one thing that I'm seeing wrong here, though, is that I want it to still format the same way that this one is doing. So in order for it to do that, I can just put a parentheses up here in the formula, and then go to the end of the formula and close it up in parentheses again. And then I'm going to hit enter, and so now it's formatted just like this one is. So finally, we need to put a formula in here for the balance. And so up here we had equals B10. This one is going to be equals to H4 minus, I'm sorry, H4, I don't want to put minus because I actually have a minus in my payment right here and in my principal. So if I'm using an amortization table, I don't take minus the payment, I only get to reduce my balance by the amount of the principal. So it's going to be plus, because I have a minus, it's actually the balance minus the principal, because the principal's in a negative number, I'm going to use the plus sign. So be careful about that. So I'm going to click on this and hit enter. So it takes my $45,000 and it reduces it by the amount in the principal column and returns the balance with the correct amount. So now I have formulas in all of this, and I can just copy it down. Oh, and I got some errors. It's always great when I get these errors because you get to troubleshoot them with me. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to look at the formula for my principal, and I can see that I have a problem right here in B10. I want to anchor B10. I don't want that to move. So I need to come up here to my formula, highlight B10, and hit F4. Now, of course, you could put you could type those in by hand as well, and I'm going to hit enter. Now let's check my interest formula, make sure I don't have any mistakes there. It looks like it's okay. I want the D to move, and I don't want those to move. So I think that's okay. Let's try that again. We'll see if we get any errors now. Now that looks a little bit better. Now what we should do when we get to the bottom of this is that we should see a zero balance. I get a zero balance, I'm pretty sure I did things right. So that's how easy it is to set up an amortization schedule, and also how you can map data into a form that's already created. Alright, so now you just need to save this as automotive credit application and submit it.